What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Depot podcast. I just want to give a quick disclaimer that in the beginning of this video, literally as soon as what you're going to see, my video or my camera was a little bit shaky, a little bit glitchy, so it's going to cut right into it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys listen, sit back, relax, just listen to me speak a random bunch of nonsense. Enjoy. Josh Heathcote. Welcome back. I hope you guys are doing so well. I hope you guys have been enjoying the podcasts, and I hope you guys have been sharing, commenting, and all of that. So, today, I'm from South Africa, as you guys know. So, today I'm going to be speaking about the sport. The sport as to us winning the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup, and us competing in the Cricket World Cup, and all the other sports we are busy doing. So, in 2019... we're getting straight into it. In 2019, we won the Rugby World Cup yet again. For the third time. We hadn't won since 2007, but now we won again. So, hosted Tokyo, Japan. In Japan, we played against several of the best teams in the world, and we came out with a win against England. It was a dominating game, and everyone, I can say everyone really enjoyed that game because it was such a tough and dominating game. So, yet again, in the Rugby World Cup 2023, hosted in France, we played against several of the best teams yet again, and we pulled out with a win. Yes, us as South Africans nearly had hundreds of heart attacks, and I think everyone can agree with me on that because, sure, I think all of our blood pressures spiked, all of our heart rates spiked, everything in our body, adrenaline, anxiety, flippin' blood pressure, heart rates, everything spiked in those flippin' quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. So, quarterfinals. We played against France, the hosts of the World Cup. Everyone thought we were going to lose to France because in the whole World Cup building up to the quarterfinals, they were dominating. They beat New Zealand. They literally beat everyone in their pool, and they came out on top. So, in the quarterfinals, we faced them. It was a stressful game, very, very stressful. One of 3 stressful games, but we pulled out a win. It was, I wouldn't consider it a great win because it was literally won by 1 point, and we were all anxious. We were all anxious in that game, and I think everyone can agree with me on that. But South Africans didn't have to do it once. They wanted to carry it on. They did it as a plan. There's a lot of controversy about how South Africa actually planned this whole World Cup. They planned the strategies, they planned the game tactics, and they actually wanted us to play how they did. They planned it all. They planned to lose against Ireland. They planned all of it. So that's the first conspiracy theory that I have as to how South African actually came through with the win is they planned it. Rassie Erasmus planned it. He planned to lose against Ireland. They planned to beat France by 1 point just to prove a point. Now, to go into the France game, there was a lot of expectation from France, seeming that they've been dominating, that they've been beating every single team that they've faced. They've destroyed them. Now, us, South Africans, we are the reigning champions, and they need to face us. Us being classified as the best team in the world had to play against France, which was then ranked, I think, number 3. So, in the game, there was a lot of smack. There was a lot of talk from the stadium and from the players themselves. There was quite a few fights as well, if I can remember correctly. And it was an intense game. France had such a high expectation to win because of the people behind them, the people supporting them. And I can agree with that. I mean, it's France. They're hosting the World Cup, so surely they have people on their side backing them up, and literally 90% of the stadium in that game was purely France or French people supporting their team. Now, luckily we pulled it off. Very heart racing during that game, I can tell you that. but we pulled off the win. Now, quarterfinals against England. The same people we played in the 2019 World Cup final. Now, we went into that game being like, yeah, it's going to be easy. We're going to destroy them. Now, keep in mind, England aren't that great. England are quite low on the rankings in the world, like the world rugby rankings. And we quite up there. We're like number 2 or 3. So, in that game, we walked in there with such high expectations that South Africa was going to demolish England. We were so thankful to have a game so easy to go into the finals with. But that's where we all got mistaken. And us as South Africans can agree, we went in there with such high expectations but came out with such low morals and such low expectations with the South Africans or the Springboks. We yet again won by what? 1 point. 1 point. Now, how can you plan that? How can a team who is one of the best in the world play against someone who's lower on the rankings but yet only win by 1 point? It sounds like a plan to me. It sounds like something happened there to win by only 1 point, and I think it is truly planned by Rassie Erasmus and the head coach. So, it was also a very tough game. England was dominating the first half, and somehow we pulled it through with Handré Pollard with that beautiful conversion kick. Literally no tries were scored in that game. That game was purely won by us through conversions, and it was all with Handré Pollard. And everyone can agree with me on that. I can promise you right now, no one ever in the South African nation will disagree that Handré Pollard literally pulled us through this World Cup. And if we didn't have him, we probably would have gotten knocked out in the quarterfinals. So, another stressful game, won by only 1 point, and what can we come out with it? Us having such high expectations to go into the finals against New Zealand, one of the best ranked players or teams in the world, debatably the best team in the world, and a lot of people can agree with me on there, because New Zealand has been dominating in so many years. Before this World Cup, they've been dominating. They were us. There was a lot of hype with this final because both New Zealand and us in that final had only 3 titles, and whoever would win that would have the first 4th World Rugby title ever. And us, there's a lot more pressure on us because we are the reigning champions. So we go into that game so hyped, but very low expectations. We were all, me amongst my friends and family, we were like, if we play like this, we're going to lose. Like, I was so confident for the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. I'll be like, no, guys, keep your hopes up. It's going to be cool games. It's going to be cool. We're gonna win. I have high expectations. But when I walked in, before I watched the final game, I had no expectations. I had no faith in the Springboks. I was like, you know what? At this point, let New Zealand win. They deserve it. They truly, truly deserve it. But this is where it changes. New Zealand had their captain, Sam Cane, red carded in the first half. They were permanently on that field for only 14 players, and that gave us an advantage. That gave us a huge, huge advantage, and there was a lot of other yellow cards within that game as well. But how did we win that game? Well, all of you guys should know by now. We won by only 1 point, yet again. So how do us Springboks win the 3 most important games in the whole World Cup by only 1 point each time? How? I don't know. And I guess we will never ever know. I still believe that it was planned, and no one will ever change my mind on that. I feel like Rassie Erasmus planned it. Rassie Erasmus is, in my mind, the best coach to ever exist on planet Earth, and he will always be number 1 until someone proves that they're better. He'll always be number 1. So, here gets to the next thing. Us as South Africans are now the fourth world title holder and the reigning champions, which puts us under a lot of pressure. And this was unfortunately the year that we lost a lot of our best players, and a lot of our best players are retiring and won't be playing in the next World Cup. That brings the new guys, the junior booker. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Springboks because we are reigning champions twice in a row. And now to bring in new people who have never played international, World Cup games ever. I mean, I'm surprised Manie Libbok made it into the team, in all honesty. I think he was only put there because Handré Pollard wasn't there. I think, here's the thing with Manie Libbok. He is a great player, and no one will ever tell me differently. He is a great player. He's great. He makes good moves, especially in that first game against Scotland with that no-look kick all the way to Curtly Arendse just to score that try. It was one of the best that I can ever say that Manie Libbok ever did. Now, I met him in person. I've met him in person. He came to my school. I have his signature. I have a photo with him. In all honesty, I didn't really know who he was at the time. But all my friends were like, oh, it's Manie Libbok. He's a stormer. I was like, oh, shucks, cool. Let's go take a photo with him. So I go take a photo with him just to realize a year later that he plays for the Springboks and he is in the World Cup team. Now, if you guys think that Manie Libbok was meant to be in that team, let me know down below, because I would actually truly love to hear your guys' opinions on how you guys see it. But getting back to my point now, Manie Libbok is a great player and he will always be a great player in my mind, but he isn't a great kicker. Now, there's obviously a lot of room for improvement. There always is great room for improvement. And if he can just work on those kicks, work on those difficult kicks, work on his less dominant foot, I think he'll become one of the greatest kickers South Africa has ever had. Not only is he a great strategic rugby player on the field, but he'll also be a great kicker when it comes to kicking for posts. In the World Cup, the biggest thing is not only tries, but it's penalties and conversions, because those are easy points that anyone can acquire with a good kicker. So that's why I think we lost actually against Ireland. If I didn't believe that Rassie Erasmus set it up, I believe if we had Handré Pollard for that game, we would have won, because there were a couple conversion kicks that we missed because of Manie Libbok. So I think if we had Handré Pollard, it would have been better. So, final. We won, obviously, by 1 point. Now, there's actually a lot of interesting stuff that's been happening with us versus New Zealand. We've actually been destroying New Zealand in quite a substantial amount of sports, and I'm going to get to it now. So obviously, not only did we beat them in the Rugby World Cup, but we also beat New Zealand in 5 tournaments in 13 days. South Africa's women's hockey, indoor hockey, beat New Zealand 8-0 at the Zara Cup on November the 7th. Now, New Zealand, I don't know how their indoor hockey is, but I know normal hockey, and to get an 8-0 win is incredible. It is astronomically high for hockey, because it's very tough to get quite a high score rate for hockey, not only to get them, let's get 0 points. So, now, South Africa's men's indoor hockey beat New Zealand 6-1 at the Zara Cup on November the 6th. So, not only have we beat them in the rugby, we beat them in both men's and women's division indoor hockey by astronomical points. The Proteas beat New Zealand by 190 runs, which made them qualify for the semi-finals. Now, as with hockey, I don't know much about cricket, but I know getting 190 runs, beating it by 190 runs is huge. It is huge. But to be fair, I don't know how their cricket team is, and I don't know how they play cricket and if they're good or not. But still, 190 runs is very, very good. Now, to get to more, South Africa beat New Zealand to win gold in the team division at the World Shearing and Wool Handling Championships. Now, to be honest, if you had to ask me, I would have never known that that's actually a real sport. I really, really wouldn't have known that it's a real sport. But hey, we beat New Zealand, arguably the best country in multiple sports in the world, which is great. It's incredibly great. I'm so proud of them. But we, as South Africans, came up on top in several different games with them. Now, yeah. So in the gist of it, sports nowadays is becoming arguably one of the most competitive things in the world, and it always has been to an extent, but now it's arguably the biggest, most competitive thing in the world. So, cut that out. If us as South Africans can maintain that, we will get recognized by hundreds of countries. And obviously we already are, but I mean, there are some certain countries that don't recognize us and don't recognize our potential and what our country has to offer. So if we can maintain this, if we can go into the Rugby World Cup 2027, if we can walk in there with a great rugby team, we can uphold our title and maintain reigning champions for the 5th time. And that's actually crazy to think about. Like, us as South Africans have won 4 titles. 4 titles. This small little country that not many people know about, a third world country at least, has won 4 world titles in rugby. Yes, rugby is our national sport in South Africa, but to win that is incredible. To beat teams like New Zealand, France, and many other teams, to beat them is an incredible achievement. So if we can maintain that, and if we can keep our title, I think our country will get on there, get the recognition it deserves. The people get the recognition they deserve. And to think about that at least now, head coach, the Springboks head coach, I've heard that he actually transferred to coach the Ireland team now. Quite ironic, because Ireland was one of our biggest competitors, because it was Ireland in the world ranking number 1, and then it was us number 2. So, I mean, he will do what he wants, but I mean, it's a little bit sketchy. But as well as Siya Kolisi, head captain Springboks, has now moved to a team in France. So from him playing for the Chelsea Sharks last year in the URC World Championship, now he has moved to France to play in a French league. And obviously they do that. All the Springboks, because rugby is obviously different seasons all across the world. So they moved, they went to France. Now they're going to be playing with the people who we beat. Now, I don't know about me, but if they knocked me out of my country's World Cup, us as hosting it, I would hold a little bit of a grudge, to be honest, especially being the captain of the rugby team. But all we can do is hope for the best for Siya Kolisi. All we can do is hope for the best for the upcoming World Cups and the upcoming Springboks, the Junior Boks, all of them. All we can do is hope for the best, pray for them, hope that they will uphold our name and uphold our world title. And yeah, so I've gone to the time where the podcast is closing down, and well, not closing down, it's coming to an end. So I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Depot Podcast. It will be, well, obviously if this is on YouTube, it will be linked down below. Follow my Spotify podcast. It'll also be linked down below. Follow me on Apple Podcasts as well. I'm there as well. Quite surprising. An upcoming podcast on Apple Podcasts. It's quite surprising, to be honest. Apple's very stingy. It'll be down below. Drop it a follow, drop it a like, drop it an ad. Go listen to my previous podcast. My previous one was with my girlfriend, Michaela. It's a great video. We deciphered between the difference between public and private schools during 2020 COVID-19 lockdown in South Africa. If you guys do enjoy this video, please, you know what to do. And I'll check you guys in the next one. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.